English News Learning System, Level 2.
Repeat after me.
The first presidential debate. The first presidential debate. Between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Drew an estimated 67.1 million viewers. Drew an estimated 67.1 million viewers. Across 17 television networks. Across 17 television networks. Blowing well past the 51 million. Blowing well past the 51 million. Who watched the Republican nominee take on President Joe Biden in June. Who watched the Republican nominee take on President Joe Biden in June. Tuesday night's 90-minute matchup in Philadelphia hosted by ABC. Tuesday night's 90-minute matchup in Philadelphia hosted by ABC. Marked the first time Harris and Trump had met face-to-face. Marked the first time Harris and Trump had met face-to-face, resulting in a high-stakes clash. Resulting in a high-stakes clash over abortion, immigration and the 2020 election results. Over abortion, immigration and the 2020 election results.
Repeat after me.
China will gradually raise its retirement age. China will gradually raise its retirement age. For the first time since the 1950s. For the first time since the 1950s. As the country confronts an aging population. As the country confronts an aging population. And a dwindling pension budget. And a dwindling pension budget. The top legislative body on Friday approved proposals. The top legislative body on Friday approved proposals to raise the statutory retirement age. To raise the statutory retirement age from 50 to 55 for women in blue-collar jobs. From 50 to 55 for women in blue-collar jobs. And from 55 to 58 for females in white-collar jobs. And from 55 to 58 for females in white-collar jobs. Men will see an increase from 60 to 63. Men will see an increase from 60 to 63. China's current retirement ages are. China's current retirement ages are among the lowest in the world. Among the lowest in the world.
Repeat after me.
Britain and the U.S. have raised fares. Britain and the US have raised fears that Russia has shared nuclear secrets with Iran. That Russia has shared nuclear secrets with Iran in return for Tehran supplying Moscow. In return for Tehran supplying Moscow with ballistic missiles to bomb Ukraine. With ballistic missiles to bomb Ukraine. During their summit in Washington, D.C. on Friday. During their summit in Washington, D.C. on Friday. Keir Starmer and U.S. President Joe Biden acknowledged that Keir Starmer and U.S. President Joe Biden acknowledged that the two countries were tightening military cooperation. The two countries were tightening military cooperation at a time when Iran is in the process of enriching enough uranium. At a time when Iran is in the process of enriching enough uranium to complete its long-held goal to build a nuclear bomb. To complete its long-held goal to build a nuclear bomb.
Repeat after me.
The Federal Reserve slashed interest rates aggressively Wednesday. The Federal Reserve slashed interest rates aggressively Wednesday, announcing the first rate cut since March 2020. Announcing the first rate cut since March 2020. The half-point move paves the way. The half-point move paves the way for lower borrowing costs on everything from mortgages to credit cards. For lower borrowing costs on everything from mortgages to credit cards. It marks a crucial milestone. It marks a crucial milestone for the central bank's historic inflation fight. For the central bank's historic inflation fight, which kept rates at a bruising 23-year high. Which kept rates at a bruising 23-year high for more than a year. For more than a year. President Joe Biden acknowledged the Fed's success. President Joe Biden acknowledged the Fed's success at such a critical juncture. At such a critical juncture, saying in a statement on X that we just reached an important moment. We just reached an important moment.
Repeat after me.
French President Emmanuel Macron has unveiled his new government. French President Emmanuel Macron has unveiled his new government. Almost 3 months after a snap general election delivered a hung parliament. Almost 3 months after a snap general election delivered a hung parliament. The long-awaited new lineup The long-awaited new lineup, led by Prime Minister Michel Barnier. Led by Prime Minister Michel Barnier, marks a decisive shift to the right. Marks a decisive shift to the right. Even though a left-wing alliance won most parliamentary seats. Even though a left-wing alliance won most parliamentary seats. Despite the partnership between Macron's centrist party and those on the right. Despite the partnership between Macron's centrist party and those on the right. Parliament remains fractured. Parliament remains fractured. And will rely on the support of other parties. And will rely on the support of other parties. To pass legislation. To pass legislation.
Repeat after me.
After a blackout of more than 3 weeks. After a blackout of more than 3 weeks. X appears ready to comply with court orders in Brazil. X appears ready to comply with court orders in Brazil. To restore access to its 21 million users. To restore access to its 21 million users. In the country. In the country. And end a protracted fight. And end a protracted fight. Between billionaire CEO Elon Musk and the country's highest court. Between billionaire CEO Elon Musk and the country's highest court. Lawyers for X informed Brazil's Supreme Court on Friday. Lawyers for X informed Brazil's Supreme Court on Friday that it had named legal representation, according to Reuters. That it had named legal representation, according to Reuters. A key requirement for reinstating the social media platform. A key requirement for reinstating the social media platform. In the major market. In the major market.